This video is going to be all about creative nature photography using off-camera flash, and the flash gun I will be using is the Neewer Z2 Pro. Hi guys, welcome to another video and welcome to Plessy Woods Country Park in South Northumberland. Now first of all, a huge thank you to Neewer for sending me the Z2 Pro flash gun. Full disclaimer, they have sent it to me free of charge along with a trigger for my Fuji GFX 50S camera, and they have asked me to give it a go and to share my thoughts with you guys, what I think about it. Now this video today is not really going to be a review as such because that's not what I tend to do, but what it will be is me using it in the field and seeing how reliable it is and how well it works. Now as you can see from behind me, I've actually been working on a shot, but before I tell you what I'm doing there, I'm just going to put a few details about this flash gun up on the screen so you can see what the specs are and what the features are that this very affordable flash gun can offer you. So the shot, as you can see, we've got a nice catkin there, hanging down, quite isolated, lots of distance behind it, so we get a nice buttery backdrop. I'm going to go for f4, ISO 800, see what sort of shutter speed I'm getting with that. Let's give me 500 for a second, so we're going to try that. Self timer on as ever. So I'll put that shot up on the screen for you. That's just a standard portrait of the catkin really. Now that's a nice enough shot, but that's not what I want to do in this video. I want to try and get creative with my flash gun, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my favourite black backdrop technique. Now I have done a video all about this before, so I will put a link up here to that video for you to watch if you want to learn more about it, but I'll talk you through it quickly here because it's a really nice simple technique, and all it requires is a camera, a flash gun and some means of triggering this flash gun off camera. So the first thing we need to do is drop your camera down to the lowest ISO possible, ISO 100 in this case. Take your F number up to the highest number possible, F22, and set your camera to the flash sync, which is 125. Now when we take a shot, we should just pretty much get a totally black image. Like so, and that's looking pretty dark. Now, Neewer have sent me this flash trigger. I'm going to put the details up on the screen for you for this. To be honest, it does lots of things that I don't need. It can control multiple flash guns, which may be useful if we start doing white backdrops. We're not going to do white backdrops in this video, but I may do in a future one. And also, it offers full TTL capabilities, so that means that basically your camera and flash gun can work together to decide what the exposure should be. But I'm not going to use any of these features because we are going for a simple manual approach. I think with this kind of photography you actually want to be manual. It makes life a lot easier. Right, so first things first, turn on your trigger. Right, so I've turned on the flash gun. Now if you look at that screen, you should be able to see that I can adjust it just using the trigger on top of the camera. Now that's a great little feature. You know, for me, it solves a problem I don't really have because it's just as easy for me to control it on the flash gun. But if you think about it, if these were in umbrellas somewhere further away from your subject, well, you know, you don't necessarily want to keep running backwards and forwards and adjusting manually when you can just do it straight from the control on here. So yeah, nice little touch. Okay, so I'm going to start off with, let's go for 8th. Right, I'm not sure what happened there at all. There seemed to be some sort of communication error between the unit and the flash. So that's not ideal. When I was actually testing this flash out, and I'm going to be quite transparent with you here, when I was testing the flash out at home, I did have problems with it not being consistently firing, but what I read was it was to do with how close I was. So as soon as I brought it back it was fine, but the settings should be okay. So I'm not sure what happened there. Let's see how it performs for the rest of the video. Right, it went off then anyway. I'm going to put the 2-second self timer back on, even though theoretically shouldn't need it because we are I'm going to try coming around this way. And we're going to try it quite frontal. And again, it totally won't fire. But manually it will. So as you can see, it's been a bit sporadic about it. So we're on 16th now, and then what I may do is actually try. And as you can see, it's totally just, again, stop firing. It's not making sense. Then it fired. We're on 16th of power, battery's fully charged. I'm this close from the trigger. Everything should be working perfectly. Very, very weird. Now, some things to keep in mind here is I've dialed the power back down because this is quite a light subject, so I don't want it getting bleached out. It may be in post-process and I have to lift it up slightly, but I prefer to do that than to wipe it totally out and not have anything to bring back. But I think that's a nice shot to start this video off. But yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about the reliability of this unit. Here's the shot. So I've got an idea. I've just noticed this fern here which has fallen over. Looks like, yeah, it must be just the rain maybe, it's pushed it down. But anyway, it's nice and green. And I'm wondering if I get low enough, can I do something with these three parts of the fern here and maybe backlight it using the flash gun. That's the idea. Well, I'm a bit stumped to why the flash wasn't triggering constantly, to be honest, because when I was trying it at home and I went out the other day with it, it was working absolutely perfectly. Although, when I did set it up initially, as I said, I did have some issues with it dropping out when it was very close. And all I can think is that the flash was very close there to the trigger, so perhaps you just have to keep a bit of a distance apart. So I think what I'm going to say to keep in mind with this video is, really, it's the flash I'm more interested in seeing how it works, not the trigger as such. I do think it's maybe a more modern trigger, and perhaps that would be the answer. Or perhaps it won't let me down at all. I'm going to be working a further distance on this shot, so I suppose this will be a good test to find out. So the macro I'm using on my GFX 50S is a TT Artisan 100mm 2.8 macro. Available in various different mounts. Obviously I've got the GFX mount. Cheapest chips, about £320 new, UK stock. You can't really go wrong for that, can you? And it seems really nice and sharp. I did, if you watched my recent video at Staves, I used it there for a landscape shot, and it was, I'll be honest, it was a bit of a pain to try and focus in the dark, but that wasn't the lens's fault. That was just the fact that it's just a pain to focus in the dark unless you're really used to manual focusing. But what I would say is the results really surprised me, nice and sharp. So yeah, quite pleased with it. Good purchase. There's quite some affordable glass now for the GFX if you're willing to be a bit flexible in what you use and you're not happy to go off brand, and if you're happy to go manual focus. And I think there are some actually really decent options, this being one of them. Right, I've discovered something, but this is quite interesting. So if I'm firing from here, it's pretty much apart from the refresh time working. If I bring it here, which is right by the transmitter, doesn't work. So basically you do need to be it looks like about 12 inches, 30 centimetres away before it starts triggering. So if you're too close, it just won't work. You need to be round. But as soon as you're round past that sweet point, apart from the recycle time on a flash gun, which is fine, all flash guns have a recycle time. I'm on 8th power, so I would expect it to take a few seconds to recharge as such. But as soon as you come around here, it basically won't work, so you can't be that close. Now this is something to keep in mind if you're planning to get this flash, because at the moment I'm quite impressed with the flash. It does what it needs to do. When I've tried it on top of the camera, it works fine. TTTL works fine. So my only stumbling block has been the fact of today when I've been too close to the trigger and it won't trigger. So do keep that in mind. I'd be tempted to say that if you want to work at a close distance, ignore the trigger totally and just get a cord and just do a corded trigger like I normally do. But yeah, round here, absolutely fine. If you watch this channel for a while, I did a video here last year when I was photographing snowdrops, and I thought to come back. I'm a little bit late. It's been a really, really wet winter, which has been really frustrating because I've been seeing the snowdrops pop up, but honestly the conditions have not been good. But anyway, how are they looking? A little bit worse for wears, I think is the honest answer. But it might still be a shot though, perhaps a black and white. I'm just going to check around here. It's been, as I say, it's been a lot of water, and I think it's flooded here. So I think that's why everything's looking worse for wears. Because I know a lot of big logs that were right by the snowdrops have now moved. So I'm going to strongly suspect it's all. Yeah, you can tell just by looking. There's a lot of fallen down branches moved, and you see snowdrops there. The snowdrops look well and truly, well and truly battered. What a shame, but I can't go through 2026 and not photograph at least one snowdrop. It's kind of I think it's psychological. For me, snowdrops mean the start of spring. It means it's starting to get warmer, and it definitely feels like that today. Makes me think about wild camping, walking, getting out with the camera, all that good stuff. So I'm going to choose the best subject of these last few remaining snowdrops and try and take the final shot of the video. You know what, sometimes simple shots are definitely the best, because there's really technically not much to this shot. I think because of the shape of the flower, I'm actually going to go for a landscape orientation. And I'm definitely going to try and bounce a flash up into it, I think. So we'll sort of get almost like a glowing flower. I think that's the general idea. So as you can see, we've come in really close on this one. Really, it is just about this flower and the stem. Lens is set to f/22 at the moment, hence why you're seeing quite a lot of stuff behind. But of course, don't forget that as soon as we put to 125 of a second, and take a shot, you pretty much just get a black histogram, which is exactly what we want. I wasn't actually really planning to just do black backdrops and nothing else today, but you know what, it's a lovely technique and I do enjoy it, and I haven't done it for a while, so I'll humour myself, eh? So theoretically, straight away, I wonder if I'm here. See? It's definitely, if you're too close to this trigger, it won't work. Keep that in mind if you think about buying this. Anyway, back to the shot. You've probably gathered why I'm in waterproofs. Right, so I'm just basically trying lots of different angles around. And what I'm doing, if it's looking too bright on the histogram, is I literally just bring my light source back. So if I'm getting sort of blinking highlights, just bring your light source back a little bit. So I'm going to go here, over like that. I'm just basically trying lots of various different angles. And I'm pretty confident I've already got the shot. Now I'm not quite sure which one it will be this sequence, but whichever one I think is the best shot, well, here it is. Right guys, that's been a very pleasant morning shoot. I'm quite pleased with all 3 shots, I think. Now, what do I think about this Z2 Pro flash? I think what I want to talk about first of all is the construction, because the construction to me, whilst it is good enough, it doesn't feel premium. The buttons don't feel premium. They work, but they don't feel premium, and the same goes for the trigger. It's like everything works, there's no reason to have any complaints about it, just for some reason it doesn't feel premium. Recycle times are okay, and I would expect it to recycle a little bit faster, if I'm being honest. Even when I was on 1/8 power and 1/4 power, this recycling, the recharging time, it seemed a little bit laggy. But you know, that could be just me. It's a little bit cold. It could have just been the circumstances, but it just seemed slightly laggy. But nothing to worry about in this sort of environment. For outdoors, nature use, this sort of thing where your subject's not moving, absolutely fine. Would I want to use this in a wedding? Perhaps not. I'm not sure it would be recycling fast enough for me. And it's surprising because it does have its own built-in battery, which is normally the problem is the battery. And talk about the battery, USB-C charging, which I commend, that's brilliant. I think all batteries should have a USB-C charging thing on them so you can just plug it in. As for the actual flash output, that was really nice. You know, I have had reliability issues with the trigger, and it just seems to be where the flash is in regard to positioning with the trigger. Left hand side for some reason seemed to throw more problems than being on the other side. Why, I don't know. But I think what we do have to remember about this flash gun, it's a nice powerful little unit. It's a round head, which makes it good for using in light modifiers. And at the moment, if you were to go on Amazon and buy this, it would cost you £143. Now for £143, you are getting a hell of a lot of flash. Honestly, you can't knock the price point. And if we keep the price in mind and the specifications, and keep in mind that it can be a little bit laggy at times, but does work. And it works reliably enough. I think it's really good value for money, and I would recommend it, but I wouldn't take it into a wedding environment. That's what I'd say. I've used a lot of flashes in weddings, and they get a bashing, and I'm just not 100% convinced this is the one I would want to take into that sort of battle. But for outdoors nature use, this sort of thing, taking photos of flowers and nature outside, yeah, highly recommended. Definitely deserves a space in your kit bag. Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, maybe subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I'll see you soon for another one. Thanks for watching.